Hello and welcome to the first Planet Coaster 2 video. And no, it isn't Southport. This is Thorpe Park Phase 2, which the only reason I built this is because I really wanted to do Ghost Train, and then I got addicted to building Ghost Train and just wanted to build the whole park now. So after this it should definitely be Southport. At least there is some Planet Coaster 2 going on, even if it's not what I said it would be originally. But yeah, here we go. So first Planet Coaster video since December last year. It's been, well, nearly a year since that last original Planet Coaster video. So here we are, and the first ride is Rumba Rapids, which is one of the older rides at Thorpe now. This is the Intamin Rapids, and it's not particularly long, you don't get particularly wet on it. However, it's a nice filler attraction and a nice family ride too. And yeah, and also in the jungle area, this is the jungle themed area, you've also got Mr. Monkey's Banana Ride, which is the junior pirate ship. There's also been added in as part of the Phase 2, which wasn't in the original, even though it's one of the classics at the park. Now, this is Ghost Train, so we're now in the dockyard. This was a new dark ride for 2023. It's manufactured by Intamin, Seven Lamb and Simworks. It's kind of a track dart ride, but kind of not. It uses the ride system more than it did when it used to be Darren Brown. But I'd like you to try and figure out how I've managed to get this to work, because it's very complicated and maybe a little bit confusing. I don't know, you can probably figure it out a little bit. But I'm really happy with how it's come out. No one else has ever built this before, so I had to kind of do it my own way.
My name is Angelus Mortis. I'm the station master. It's rare to see so many travelers at this station. The locals never come. They're a superstitious bunch. It's only the curious like yourselves that come to take the last train. You see, over 100 years ago, some local aristocrats formed a secret society called the Believer. The death is not the end. What did they want? To live forever. They believed the gateway to immortality could be found by bringing the dead back to life. The Believers met here before taking the last train to Chapel Station. There, they broke into the crypt of St. Giles Chapel, and amongst the ancient tombs of the dead, held a cell. The summoned spirits that would guide them to immortality. And by summoning those spirits, they summoned death. Felt their souls being torn from them. They fled the crypt. But alas, all died. Beautifully. So, what would you like to do now? Leave or take the last train? Let's take the last train. Much more exciting. After all, you only live once. Unless you, too, are a believer. Oh, you may be wondering how I know so much about these events in the crypt. Let's just say I was there. In spirit.
And there we go, Ghost Train. Yeah, it's quite lengthy actually, and I've tried to replicate the actors even though we don't have the right animatronics in the game. Yeah, now we're on to The Walking Dead, which is the second dark ride here in the dockyard as well. And this is the indoor coaster. This replaced is X No Way Out, which is the same layout, but that was of course in my original. And it's now had a pre-show, new theming. I've been able to build it from the ground up because it's in Planet Coaster 2. But again, this is a much improvement from my old X recreation.
Welcome to the Thorpe Park safe zone. You look like you've been on the road for a while. But before you can enter the safe zone, you need to answer 3 questions. You at the back. How many walkers have you killed?
Too many to count. A lot.
How many people have you killed?
2.
Why?
Yes! Walkers have reached the safe zone. War's over!
We've got civilians in the hole effect. We need to move them to the bunker now.
What? They haven't been questioned yet.
Look, Negan's onto us. We're multiplied every day. We need the help.
Don't do these things more. Yes, we do these classes.
Screw the questions. I'm leaving you. Look, as soon as that door opens, get to the supply store and meeting. Personnel can get into safety from there. Hurry up! Look, I'm saving the next thing. Quickly! Get a move on! Watch out, they're behind you!
And there we go, The Walking Dead The Ride, the Vekoma Enigma coaster, which is pretty much a Vekoma Junior coaster with different restraints, but with a horror theme. And that's the first coaster in Planet Coaster 2 as well. And here you've got the photos for it, and Storm Surge is next, so we're now in Amity, got a couple of new additions. This is the sort of, it's quite a unique ride really, because it's like a dinghy slide combined with a rapids, so I don't really know what to call it, to be honest, but it's one of the water rides here, and it opened in 2011.
I feel like I could die. Bye-bye, my love, goodbye. There goes my baby with someone new. She sure looks happy, I sure am blue. She was my baby till he stepped in. Goodbye to romance, that might have been. I'm gonna cry. Bye bye love, bye bye sweet.
And here we go, the other water ride in the area, which is an addition, and this is Depth Charge, which is a dinghy slide. Very traditional, you're going to find these at a lot of parks. However, this is the first time I've recreated one properly. I've had quite a few different representations of these in the first game, but now I can actually just build a dinghy slide, which is great. And on to the next themed area, which is Swarm Island, and this only contains one ride, and which is the Swarm. Now this, again, is just a complete rebuild of my old Swarm. However, it's just so much better. I was never really happy with how the original Swarm came out. It just felt it was lacking a lot compared to all the other recreations. So this is a brand new, complete from the ground up recreation of the Swarm, which I always wanted to do as part of Phase 2 of Thorpe, and it just means this park's got more than one major coaster. You can probably guess what the final ride we're going to be doing is. So, yeah, it's had loads of theming. I've completed everything that's in there in real life now, and it's more popular with the guests as well. And there is one addition to the Lost City, and this is Quantum, which is the magic carpet. It's a Fabry flat ride, another flat ride edition, but it is here in the Phase 2. And now we're making our way to the final themed area and ride, which is predictably Fearless Valley, where Hyperia is located. This is the UK's tallest and fastest coaster, and definitely the most popular. It's a Mack hypercoaster that only opened in 2024, beating the Big One's record 30 years on. It's a completely different ride to the Big One though. This, to be honest, the first time I did it, I was thinking the pacing wasn't bad, it just wasn't what I was expecting. But the more I do it, the more I appreciate and understand why it's so special. I do think the hang time is good, because I do grey out from the transition between extreme force and hang time. Speed on it is fantastic, and it is a phenomenal ride. Now, it might not be their most heavily themed area. The station ambience is good though. And here we are, we're going to have a front row and then a row on the back car. Not actually on the back row, but the view will be better on the back car, so it's row 9. And there we go, probably from a Thorpe Park new editions kind of thing, this is probably the most anticipated recreation. And like I said, it might only be my number 4 coaster, but that's just because I've got kind of other appreciations for other rides. It is a great ride. Like I said, the more I do it, I do get more addicted to it. Well, actually, yeah, I definitely want to go, because the main thing I judge coasters on is, when I get off, how much do I want to go back on it again? And to be honest, that does get better with Hyperia. Now, Hyperia, similar to Swarm, is the only ride in the area. I have added some of the buildings like Burger King, the Hyporium you might have seen earlier, and the toilets, just to flesh out Fearless Valley a little bit more. But it has been a good recreation, this, because it does feature the themed areas that I've put in. Most of them are represented. Amity, there's not much of Amity in this, it's just the additions. But like Jungle's got 2 out of the 3 rides. Dockyard, Swall Island and Fearless Valley have got all the rides that are there in real life, which is great. I think I would have, if the only thing with Fearless Valley is that I get it's a stylized ride. I think the storyline should be more clear on like boards in the queue line. and also maybe some audio. And I think Samurai should have been painted black and gold and rethemed, because it doesn't fit into Old Town anymore really, and Saw the Ride could just be made on its own. But yeah, that is it, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing all these new recreations. It's definitely been a great first thing to do in Planet Coaster 2.